Let me know when we're on. Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. Hear the beautiful, beautiful music. And welcome to Live on Main, a program that we do here from the HopNews office every Friday at 6 p.m. And you know, if you miss it, because you could, with all these shoppings that you have to do, you can see it on our YouTube site, and we will announce that when that's ready to go. With me this evening, and we are very lucky to have her, is Amanda Maffei, who's right now playing a new song that she rewrote and will be on her new album. She's a singer, she's a songwriter, she's a mom, she's a teacher, she's a piano player, guitar player, and now she's putting a production together that's going to be available for everyone to enjoy on television, or on your computer, or on your screen. May I please introduce to you, would you give a warm welcome, let me hear it, for Amanda Maffei.
Yay!
Thank you for being here. Yes.
She gives herself applause.
We're in the booth. Sorry, you may not be able to hear everything. So, you want to go to a 2, I'm sure. Amanda is here to show some of her music, play some of her music, and talk about how she came about doing it. But first, I really want to show, because that's the camera we like, I think, the one that you just moved to, so that we can both look at the camera. So
everybody's going to learn how to do one of these productions.
That's
just
right.
from paying attention up to your
That's right. And I have to say,
instructions here.
Eric's only been doing this since we started.
That's awesome.
He hasn't. This hasn't been his thing since in the 16 years he's worked here.
So let's all hear it for Eric.
Yeah.
Eric.
All right. And then there's the sound production over there, that department.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a new office, new digs.
And so, that reminds me, as I'm wondering which camera is going to be on, reminds me of the old Osmond family show. I think it was the Osmonds were on Andy Williams' show.
Oh, right.
And it was a family of singers, and there was one kid, Donny Osmond. He must have been 5
My
or 6.
sister's favorite.
Oh,
Michael
really?
Jackson was mine, Donny Osmond was hers.
Michael Jackson was in that family?
No, Michael Jackson was not in that family. He was my favorite
Oh.
singer, and Donny Osmond was my sister's favorite singer.
And so what they would do is they would have the whole family, I don't know, the 5 or 6 of them, and they're looking at the camera like a choir, and then the camera would switch to the side, and Donny would switch too. And it was a big joke for the audience too, because he's the only one that turned to the new camera.
He's the savvy one. Yeah.
So I
the
just
youngest always is the savviest.
Just wanted to show something from, do you remember the year? I think it was
1998.
Was it 98 that this happened?
Mm-hmm. That the CD finally got,
that's fantastic. Produced. And so I have just a little part, because Amanda came to me and she said, I'm inspired by your photo.
Yeah, of the blue heron.
Of the great blue heron, let's see if we can see this. If I put it over here or over here. Can you see that? Oh, I guess they can see it if they have the computer screen. So,
that's a tricky one.
there's a great blue heron shot that I took. And it was in the Hopkinton Independent, which I used to love giving photos to. And because unless you have a venue, unless you have an outlet for your art, or whatever you may call it, it's a sad art. Because it's all alone,
It's a living room art.
Yeah. And so Amanda said, if I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh boy, you asked me to remember anything from 1998, and you're just going to be right.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, then I'll say whatever I want. So here's the photo I took. One of the photos, if you can see that. Eric, thank you so much for doing such a good job switching those cameras. Are you zooming in, or are you just leaving it there? All right, the fair question. And so you may see her guitar lying down, and she is just landing.
Yeah,
Amanda Maffei is just landing. She's mimicking the great blue heron.
And that was your inspiration too. It was very cool, actually. I love that that whole sequence of things. Because we went out to the dam, which is no longer the dam that was.
Right, you're right.
But like Whitehall. Yeah.
And the Right, I did think of all that. Is that the same guitar?
No, this was just in the last few years. This is
That's a beauty.
my friend.
You got a mahogany neck there,
yeah,
is that right?
it's a
Beautiful, beautiful guitar.
Yeah, lucky to find it.
And so I actually have a copy that's not been opened.
Yeah, I've got lots of them that haven't been opened.
Oh,
so
really?
if anyone wants them.
Yeah. And it's great
so
stuff.
Let me know.
It's real heartfelt and very intimate. A lot of like from the mind and bearing the soul.
Thank you.
Right for everyone to hear. But now you've entered a new phase. Oh, may I talk about? We're gonna head out of here and run Boston Strong. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's a beautiful piece about the tragedy and the fighting the tragedy and the tragic sense that I think a lot of us felt after the double bombing at the Boston Marathon in 2013. And Amanda called me and said, I have a song. Can you come down? Now, the first time you said that, was that a song about your mother?
No, that was actually my first mother-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how's that go? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Let's see.
Like,
Souls never travel far from us, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Souls eternally join us. Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And while she was performing it, and I was recording it with a camera on her, in the background is Sam.
Sam, 6 months old or something.
Yeah, 6 months old.
Rolling around on the blanket with his toy.
Right. How old is he now?
He's 12.
Wow, that was a while.
Yeah, he's probably 12.6. 12.6 now. So.
And that was a great live song.
Yeah.
And then the next time she called, I shouldn't say she. It sounds like you're not here. Next time Amanda called was to.
Now you're following my mother's demands.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I do that at home.
Oh.
I do that at home, but I didn't notice it, Robert. So.
Well, I'm very sorry to go there because it was not meant.
No.
It was not meant pejoratively for you long-time watchers. That was my favorite word last week was pejorative.
Oh, okay.
And
it's carried over to this week.
And Roger Cabler is all, you're getting all pejorative on me.
Oh, wow.
He's a comedian. That's
why. Yeah.
So that was a great song. And then the next time Amanda called, Amanda said,
she did? Wow.
And Amanda is a comedian too. So is there anything closer for that shot, Eric? I'm just thinking I'm seeing a lot of the legs and knees and stuff that, no, I mean the same camera? No? Okay, so this is, okay, all right, wherever you want to center. It doesn't have to be a one shot. It can be a two shot. I just felt it was a little bit too far away. So this time, when I received the call, it's funny how you can change the subject and so forth, and the object and the
that's it.
The verb
that tends to be the way the artistic mind works.
Yeah,
it jumps from one thing to the next.
And so Amanda practically demanded I come down now, and so I did because Amanda asked, and so she had this beautiful song. I wonder how many times your voice changed before it got down to the final production.
Yeah, I mean in that particular song.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean the voice may have changed. I don't know, but the words changed some too from that, and a lot of that had to do with other friends hearing it and making suggestions. Like Barbara Kessler, who was the producer of it, and she recorded it. She had one real great suggestion. Now on the spot I can't think of it because my mind tends to go. But it really changed, made it so much more powerful. Just in taking out one word, it was really and so it's opening when you open it up to. That's like when I'm working with my songwriting coach Vance Gilbert. Now it's when you open it up to other people to give suggestions. It can get that much more honed and I believe better.
Okay, that's it. No, that's a great way to put it, and a very humble way to put it too. That you're actually admitting.
Oh yeah.
That somebody proved something yours.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
and then so the song was beautiful in itself.
Well, thank you.
And Amanda got suggestions that made it a better song. And she went into the studio, Barbara Kessler's, as she said, Barbara produced it, and did some voiceovers and some dubbing,
Yeah.
and added, the whole song is a crescendo, the whole thing. It starts with, does it start with the piano key?
It's pretty much, I think, the
Or
piano.
chord?
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
and then the more instruments joined. It was Phil, Barbara's husband, playing drums, and then his keyboard player playing bass and the Hammond organ, and I played piano.
That was a B3,
that.
right? What a beautiful
Yeah,
sound.
yeah.
Oh, that was
He's
beautiful.
and he plays it. He knows how to play. So.
And
that
so
was
as the
nice.
song progresses, the instruments come in. Then more voices come in. And then they do a round. And then more voices come in.
Yeah.
And it just builds and builds and builds until the very end when Amanda comes back solo playing the piano. Well, actually, that's in my video. But that may not be.
Yep, that's
that
right.
may not be the way it
Yeah, we
happened.
did it.
Sorry.
No, we did it. We did it in a. We did it in a couple different ways. There's your video, and then there's also the hired a fellow from Japan actually, whose animated film I had seen with my son at the ICA. Right, it's called the ICA.
What is?
In the museum in Boston, the Contemporary Art Museum.
Oh,
I think that is.
Oh, okay.
I had seen
All right.
his video, and for some reason, as we were working this, because we did, then also Renice King from Berkeley did a gospel version of that song.
Wow.
And so, but I was in communication with this fellow from Japan. You can actually see it on runbostonstrong.net. And but a thought came into my mind. Check out because I was looking for an animated film to do to it, and it was check out this film. And I said, why that? And then I viewed it, and it turned out it was mostly running. You know, which I didn't remember. I just remembered about the film. So then and that thought came into my head. So as I was figuring things out, you know, getting ready for the next marathon and wanting to release this on runbostonstrong.net, and I had .com then, but that's another story. I don't anymore. But and then so I had to get a translator to go back and forth by email, who I found at UMass, a Japanese translator, and so we translated emails back and forth, and he agreed to have my music. With his
Cartoon? Or
with his
animation?
his animation, and then I had an editor here, Johnny Chu, here in the Boston area through Mass College of Art. He wasn't there; he had graduated, but I found him through them, and he edited it to the music. Yeah, so it was very
So
cool.
the animation is available to see?
Yeah, they can see it anybody can see it on runbostonstrong.net. And if you want, there's actually runbostonstrong.net has also the gospel version without an animation, without a film, but also it's connected with the 26.2 Foundation, who are doing the Marathon Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Tim Kilduff.
And you're going to have some presentation there, is that what you're saying?
I don't know if there's going to be
Yeah.
a presentation there, but Tim and I were in communication with each other, and so that sort of was all part of that time period, you know, when between the 2013 marathon and then the 2014,
Right.
when that first anniversary.
And then so the way I remember it is I just put some videos together,
Mhm.
and as you know, I
Yeah, you
got
did a
permission
nice
from
job.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
But what was happening with what you were doing with the song kind of spilled over to me a little bit, in that I believe you were looking at it in a very spiritual, supernatural sense, even. Would you say that when you were composing it, putting all the pieces together?
I composed that one very, very quickly. I will say that it just
Came to you.
yeah, it was a week after, and I had been on the Common, and the fellow who was a minister gave it was a beautiful ceremony that he did, and just I went home and sat down at the piano, and it was within, an hour that song was, written, and then, you work on it after that.
Right, yeah.
But the whole thing was, and I called you, I think, the day, either that day or the day after.
So for me, it was a bit serendipitous also. That's my word for it. And as I put the pieces to the video together, it's like I'm grabbing this and putting that there. I'm hearing you say, spirits, whatever the verse is.
Oh, yeah.
Spirits move on or something like that.
Yeah, for John.
For
Spirits
John.
for John.
And then I look at my screen, and there's the statue.
Right.
In
Right.
Spirits, the name of the statue
Oh,
is
is
Spirit
that-
of the Marathon.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
these kinds of coincidences kept happening, and when they happen in a good way and with serendipity, it feels really good.
Yeah.
And you don't know why or how it's happening.
You just feel like you're tapped into something that, for the moment at least, is carrying you, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
so this moment is good.
It's almost, it's
Yeah.
almost like the way I look at these kinds of things sometimes is that the species has all these choices just floating around in a way, that pass through your head, and if you don't grab them, they're just going to keep going. But sometimes they're there for you to grab and move with. So then, the next, well, there were probably a lot of things of note, especially because you were out there pounding the leather on the pavement. But when I think of, I brought the song to Jack LeDuc, who is the person who does the color commentary live at the marathon on the reviewing stand as people go by, and leading up to it too. He's the MC for the town and for the marathon committee. He does a great job with it. He also paints the line. I think this is 30-something years now that he's been painting the line. And I got a copy, or I emailed him a copy of the song, not the video, just the song. And he liked it, and he moved it forward too. And the people that make these decisions liked the song. And so Amanda was in one of the corrals, what wave was
I don't
that?
want to tell you what corral.
No,
I
what
was
wave
in.
was it? Yes, all
I've
of a
got
sudden.
my ego, gosh darn it. No, isn't that bad? That's bad. Just grace to be able to have been in the shape to be able to run the marathon.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I was in the fourth wave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're in a corral in the fourth
I've been in
wave.
the second wave. I just want
Okay.
to put that in there.
Well, I think that makes a huge difference.
Sorry though,
So,
for my lack of humility.
so Amanda did
Supernatural will get me for that one.
Oh, you know it.
That's the way it
Oh,
goes.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So remember that next time you bump into a door or something. Oh, it was because I said,
I don't know if I'll
my
remember
ego
much when I bump into a door.
and that high horse and all that stuff. So Amanda was in the corral on the fourth wave, you say,
Yes.
and you heard it.
Yeah.
I had
I
given
didn't
this-
know it was going to be there.
That's
I didn't
great.
know. That
I'm
was-
so
that was
happy
amazing.
about that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was really nice.
and a woman next to me, the song starts playing, and I'm standing outside my studio, my former studio, my
Yeah.
former space.
Yeah. Where
And,
we always have you.
I told the woman next to me, well, I didn't even know her. She's just sitting on the bench, and I said, "That's my friend's song!" And I was so excited, as if I had written it,
Oh, well, you were a big part of that.
Oh, well,
A big part of that
I
campaign.
just taped it, and you did a great job, and it was so. It's called Run Boston Strong. We're going to run this at the very end as we
Oh,
exit.
nice.
It'll be after the credits. You'll see it after the credits. It's a video with the music in the background. And another thing that happened was, as these things were going on, these coincidences, these beautiful coincidences, a woman came in and she said, "Hey, listen, my son flies a helicopter. He's taking some pictures." I said, "Really?"
Oh, nice.
And those are the two photos at the end.
Right, great.
From a helicopter.
Oh, great. Yeah, we were
Um,
wondering about that, how you got those.
She just walked in, like, once again,
There you go.
serendipitous.
Nice.
And the photos are of the Prudential Building and Fenway Park. So those are two of my favorite icons. I think maybe the Citgo sign ranks above them, but those are two of my very favorite places. And this woman, the young man's name is at the credits on the end. So you check that out if you want to know who that was. But that was just a great experience, and thank you for giving me a call and letting
Yeah,
me be
sure.
a part of it. And I know
So-
you've got a lot more going on.
Yeah, I do. And it'd be actually nice to play a song. You had mentioned about it being serendipitous, that you should have called and asked me to do this webcast. I was going to say webcam. It's not. It's a webcast. But that Martin Luther King is somehow tied into that. So
Thank you.
You explained that to me. But so and then also that Peter, you had talked with Peter, my husband, who mentioned that I had a new song, and because he'd been encouraging me to call you to see about that. And
But
actually,
I called.
yes, but you called.
Yeah.
And then actually the reason why I was just a little bit hesitant was because on January 13th, the Friday before Martin Luther King Day, I'm going to be launching with my webmaster, Rachel Dubinsky, launching a new website. So that's
Can you tell people the address, the web address?
AmandaMaffei.com.
Oh, geez, how
So there you
how
go.
surprising that is.
So
How coincidence? Another
you know,
coincidence.
serendipity.
Yes.
One more time. The
Serendipity.
name of the website is the same as my name.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
But that's so anyway.
So
So this song is my plan is to record it in the studio with a bass and guitarist and some backup singers, and then have it published on the website in that first day. So
And could you play a little now?
yeah, I'd love
And
to.
I'm going to let the camera stay on you.
Okay.
And if you want to look at the people that are out there, it's the
It's this
center
camera right here.
between the blue lines.
Got it. Thank you. So this is called Let Freedom Ring. I watched at home on my TV. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, I've got to tell you about this song because the story is that I actually wrote it 2 years ago. And I'm going to be recording it on my new CD. And I mentioned before that I've been working with Vance Gilbert on my songwriting for the last 2 years. And so I played this song for him a couple of weeks ago, and he's heard it before. But what basically ended up happening was at the end of that session when I was leaving, he said, basically, I want you to change the whole thing. So I was like, what? Because I just thought it was, a perfect song, because that's the way I function. I think the stuff that I write is perfect until I know that it's not. So I don't have the words down because they're changing until they're completely settled. And so I play the song for you while it's a work in progress. So I may look over at this is a long way of saying that I may look over at my lyric sheet. We're going to start again. I watched from home on our TV as Mom marched down US 80. She had to do something, so she took part, helped freedom ring. I remember the day Mom called me in from play to watch him say, I have a dream, child, he lives for justice, where justice lives, we live free. I watched them pull folks off those stools, pushed to the ground, lunch counter rules. I heard them say those wretched things, full of their fear, and all fear brings. I remember the day Mom called me in from play to watch brave people refuse to fight. Child, live your life for justice, hold on to it with all your might. Mom taught me to believe in the good we all could be. How, after all these years, do we stay caged in age-old fears. I remember the day Mum called me in from play to watch them lay his body down. Child, he lived and died for justice. Where justice lives is holy ground. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of our pilgrim pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. Every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Very good. What a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And you'll be singing that Monday, January.
I don't know that I'll be singing it Monday, but it will be on my website on that Friday through the Martin Luther King.
Well, could you be sure to send me an email?
Yes.
Because in an hour I'll forget this whole interview.
Yes.
It'll just be it'll be a
In an hour
fog.
it will all be gone. I understand that, actually. Yeah. I do.
Well, I have ADD, so.
Well, no, I just have an old brain, so that
Oh.
for me, it's like I remember things that happened to me in kindergarten, but if you ask me what I did yesterday, it's going to take me a while to pull it up.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah,
I'm hearing you. I have an
that's the
old
way it is.
friend, and he is an old friend, and we don't have any more stories.
Okay.
So what he does is he makes all these stories up while he's talking. But you remember? No, I don't remember that.
Well, you know, but they
You're
also say that the way that our memories are is that all we have are these little chunks of memories, and then we have what our brain does is it connects them. So that's a lot of reason why they can't necessarily, like two stories, two people's views of the same thing aren't the same, because that's, you know, we only log on certain things, and then, you know, whatever part it is of our brain that does the connecting has its own creative way of doing that for each person.
Right. In other words, I would have been called for dinner when I was a kid, and I didn't hear them until they maybe said steak or baked potato or something like that, and I'm still watching whatever Star Trek or whatever it was back then.
See, that it just explained to me how it is that, you know, not everybody has the same, you know, gets things right the way that I do. Oh, that's why. That's why they have different stories than mine.
Oh, I see.
Because their brains are connecting them in those creative ways.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
That's
And so
all part of learning.
that's going to be on your website, and you will, Amanda will send me a link, and I will remind you all out there,
Thank you.
and a few thousand other people who aren't going to watch this video.
Oh, thank
when
you,
it's
Robert.
over. Well, no, who aren't watching now is what I mean.
Yeah. No, I know.
Because this hasn't really taken
There's actually
off.
billions of people who aren't watching.
True.
Do you realize
true.
that? The nerve!
That's so funny because
Oh.
somebody called me one time, and when you have a business, everybody needs to have deep pockets, and you know, we need this, we need that, and I got a call from a surrounding town. I won't say
Okay.
what surrounding town.
The town that can't be named.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The town that won't be named. Yes.
And it was a fellow from the football, whatever their Boosters Club is, and he said, you know, we have. It was so weird because he thought he was going to force me and reach my heart or whatever it was. He said, you know, if you don't donate $350, he said there's going to be a boy that won't be able to play football because that's how much it costs for the uniforms. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna donate $700. Now there's two kids that can't play.
It's really cruel.
Well, no, it's not cruel. It's the logic he launched on me.
I know. I
Which
get it.
that was a little unfair, though.
I get it.
So,
Yeah.
and then you have this. Did we discuss that project yet?
The kids
With-
project.
Yeah.
Well, the kids, hopefully, you know, the kids of all ages, because it's really, it's been a real jewel, and it's been arduous. It's an arduous jewel. But so it started, I won't go into but it started over because I was doing this show called Ms. Biz Muse Time that never did make it to the air, and who knows about the future, but over at HKM. And part of that, it was music, storytelling, art, and movement. And but as we had done a couple pilot programs, and then the fellow over there asked me if I would consider writing stories to go with each of my 6 songs. To which I said, oh, because we were using library books that's sort of loosely related, and so it seemed like a sensible thing to do. And so 10 years later, we're coming to the end of recording these, what they've turned into radio plays now, is because, and again, this is working with others and honing the stories and a lot with Vance and trying to get down to what the true nugget of the story is, and that's it's a lot of work. You know, when they said writing kids stories, because I've read a few books on writing, and one of the authors said, Ursula Le Guin, I think it was, maybe, I'm not positive, but she said writing, no, it wasn't Ursula, but writing children's stories is the hardest thing. And I was like, oh, come on, kids' stories? But then as I was writing, I said, oh my goodness, that's for sure, because, you know, kids, and I know this by teaching too, you start, and I have a tendency to ramble, as you'll notice, and kids don't take well to rambling. They're like, oh, what, you know, and there's like, bing, off they go. So you really need to make sure when you're writing that you're getting to the core of the thing, like as quickly and succinctly and fun as possible. And, you know, that's not easy. I guess I should be looking at the camera.
That's a good place.
I'm not used to doing that. I don't have to keep going like this. So like, So anyway, so now I can't think. I mean, how am I supposed to think when I'm looking at a little tiny thing?
You were on the...
yeah, so on this story.
The writing
that's right.
of it.
So, yes. And so actually I have one book that I did with Sarah, and I'm trying to think of her, Miller is her, but Zeev is her mom's name. So Sarah Zeev Miller did illustrations to an iteration of Rocketeer Sam and Grace, which is really fun. She did a really nice job with those, and I'm going to get that published at some point and put it out with the song, but I have 6 songs, and with each of those songs is a companion story. And I hired 4 wonderful entertainers and storytellers and to do the voices for each of the stories. So, and I actually wanted to play, I will play, and some of these are old songs that I did for my first 2 kids, who are now 30 and 28, when they were in Sunshine Preschool, right? Where all of our children, our 5, his, mine, and ours, all went to Sunshine Preschool.
And they're still in business, right?
And they're still in, the kids did not bring down the roof, so that's always good. But yeah, Sunshine Preschool is a wonderful, wonderful place for kids.
And so, will you do that now?
Yeah, I can do that right now.
Excellent.
It goes, Leo the lion loves to sing lullabies. When he does, the cubs get a big surprise. For as they drift off to sleep and Leo starts to sing, before he is finished, they're all wide awake again. Now, if you can imagine right here, I'm going to stop for a second, because this is actually Vance Gilbert who's singing Leo's part, and he put his whole heart into it. I'm not going to put my whole voice into it because I will lose my voice if I do it, but it goes then really, really loud.
And may I?
Oh, yes.
May I point out that you'll clip the mic too, because we don't have compression on it.
Okay, oh, then I'll have to do it softly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
However.
So anyway, but imagine in your mind this really beautiful, big baritone voice. Ra 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 ra. And actually in the recording I orchestrated it for a string quartet, but before then there's a toy piano that plays with the strings a little bit, and it's in a very consonant, beautiful sound. And then when when Leo comes in, we have the string quartet that I threw into dissonant sounds, which was absolutely wonderful to do way up high up here, so they're like screeches. And then you have the full grand piano, and you have like lion's paws going up to the piano. And then then I also hired a wonderful young man, Jordan, I forget his last name, but he was from the Lexington Fife and Drum Corps, and he brought in his big bass drum with his crash cymbals. And so we have that, and then the high school was kind enough to, should I say that? Yes. Anyway, I got my chimes from somewhere, and recorded those at Barbara Kessler's here in town, Barn 81, and so it's this really wonderful accompaniment to Vance's Leo roaring, and it's my granddaughter Cora is 6 years old, and she when I played it for her, she laughed and laughed and laughed, and then when I started to play it again, this was the next day. She was with us for the weekend, and so I started to play it for her again. And then as I'm singing that opening part and it's getting closer to when Leo comes in, she's going, "Oh no, oh no, oh no," right? And then when he comes in, she just laughed through the entire thing again.
That's
so
great.
So that, it was just really a joy.
So you learned how to write for kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I am learning how to write for kids. I am learning, it's, yeah, it's.
And you're getting, and there's the feedback, there's a natural feedback.
Yeah.
And then you said to your child, "I want her back here next weekend."
Yeah. Oh, it's
To
a
help
joy.
out
It's a
with
joy
the
when Cora's
experience.
with us, that's for sure. That's for sure. It
fantastic.
really is.
And then, would you have this available, for instance, I know you want to go through a larger market,
Yeah.
but would you ever think of putting it on eBay?
I don't even know, Robert. The thing is, I want to make it available for, like, the way that I'm looking at this is to make it available actually first for Hopkinton, because this is my home and this is where I've been for 30 years, right? And so it was supposed to be out this past November, but actually a neat thing that's happening is that once the recordings are all edited, which they've all been recorded, the voices have, but I'm sending them off to a Foley artist who is a sound effects person up in Toronto. And as it turns out, apparently, now you can't quote me on this, but what I understand is that he did the sound effects for at least one of the Muppet movies. So this fellow knows what he's doing and he wants to do this project. So it'll have all sound effects and everything in it, and my thoughts are to make it available for Hopkinton as the first. I see it as like do the first and then come out from there and then come out from there, and see. So I thought this would be a great test with the Moms Club and sort of let people know when it's coming out, and it should be within the next 3 months or so. It should be by the summer anyway. I think that things should get done right away, but. I'm usually not right. Well, I'm just usually not right about most things, and I'm just finding that out now. So.
Now, Amanda's talking about marketing, not music, or just so most things doesn't cover anything but marketing. So,
well, thank you, Robert.
You're welcome. But I knew that you meant marketing, but the millions watching didn't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, millions. I'm sorry to have misled you.
Well, that wasn't intentional.
No, it wasn't intentional. I know a little about a little compared to the universe.
Okay. I know a little. What was that?
Yeah.
Was that what song was
Did
that?
somebody already snag that by?
Yes,
it's
a song title. I know a little. Erica, you into that Southern rock stuff? I know a little. I know a little. I forget what band it was. It was one of those Southern rockers, I believe.
All right.
I know a little about love. Something like that.
Yeah.
But we don't want to. We're not featuring, that band.
We're featuring a band that we can't remember the name of.
Yes.
And that's what actually this whole webcast has been about, is finally getting to that point.
Yes.
For the band that we don't know anything about.
And
because there's a niche there, Robert.
I think so.
Maybe we're a little slow to pick up on a niche like that.
And perhaps the band, we see the band in their jalopy,
Okay.
and they pull over, and we don't know anything about them, but we want to know about them. So we run up
Are you, is this a video now, right now in the
We're
making
writing a
that you're
video,
doing?
yes.
Oh my
And then so
goodness.
we,
Wow.
and so we run up to where they are at the Gulf Mart, and
Wow, you
and
even
we,
have the spot,
and
your
we,
location.
we turn the corner and they're gone. The band we know, what is it? The band we know
The
nothing
band we
about?
know nothing about is
Right,
gone.
right, and then we see
Right.
them blowing smoke out their tailpipe,
Okay.
running toward Upton.
All right, all right.
And then we'll pick that up another, the next
Yeah,
time
we
you
got a
come on.
structure now, so we just have to flesh it out.
So, when is, for instance, your next public performance?
That's a good question. Yeah,
Because
yes.
you're everywhere. You're everywhere where the
Yeah,
music.
I was
quite
at
often.
Hopkinton Drug. I played
Right.
at Hopkinton Drug for
Yeah.
the Christmas stuff, or the holiday stroll, and I think I just did something somewhere, and I can't.
Something somewhere.
I've
Look,
got to get somebody who remembers something about what I did.
Yes.
But anyway, I don't have anything at this very time lined up, but that is part of launching. A lot of energy is going into launching this website, working on these projects to get them done. I am working on the CD, and once that CD has been is ready to go, then that is when I really, will put that getting out and playing loads,
Okay.
into gear.
You'd be
because I'll have a
accompanied with
product
this new
then.
product?
I'll be accompanied?
Would
You mean, would I go
accompanied
with a band? Is that what
with
you're
other
saying?
musicians?
Would I go out
Yeah.
with a band? I'm not positive about that. I do, I've jammed with a couple folks, and we're, seeing about that. I sort of am letting things unfold the way, without forcing them right now, because I find that when I've forced things in the past, it's been a silly maneuver.
Oh.
So, no, not bad.
Yeah.
Just silly.
Oh, you're
I
not
mean, just-
speaking in a pejorative sense, but
You know,
pejorative is
okay,
my word. for
okay,
the
all
week.
right, and it's your word, and I honestly cannot sit here through another pejorative without asking you for the definition. I know
Oh.
pejorative, I know it's, but I've got to hear a definition.
Well, I don't know. It's like in a bad sense. I don't mean it in a bad sense.
Okay,
If you said something in a pejorative way, I think you'd be demeaning the subject.
oh, okay, so that's what pejorative is.
I think so, yeah,
All right.
I'm pretty sure. I said
Yeah.
it 20 times on
Well,
last
yeah,
week's
so I
show.
mean, even in today's climate, you should be able to say something 20 times and then have it mean whatever you want.
If you, yeah, right.
There seems to be a segment of our,
It's the new rule, huh?
of our psyches that is believing that that's the way things work.
Oh,
so.
now I'm getting
No,
it.
I don't want to go there, Robert.
Now I'm getting it.
No,
I didn't go there though,
no,
but
I
got
did,
it.
I did,
got
but
it.
that's not a good place to go. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
It's just a different.
I have relatives not speaking with one
Yeah,
another.
yeah.
I have friends
Yep.
that speak pejoratively.
Stop with the pejorative already. Stop.
That's going to be the word of the
Stop with the pejorative already.
ready. It's not what I want to hear. It's been coming out of my brain for 2 weeks now. I hope it gets washed away with the rain.
Oh, you could have said with the beer.
Oh,
Yeah, it would have
what
rhymed.
beer? I don't even
Well,
see.
no,
I rhymed the verse before.
You're sophisticated.
It's
I was just
very
I was just rhyming one of the words that came just a few words before.
I know, and
I
was
can't think all the way back to the verse.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry. I didn't mean to hurt
That's
you.
okay. Now
your
there
brain.
goes my songwriting right down the drain.
Oh no, that's
All
not
right,
true.
no.
But I didn't know the song.
You take it and run with it, Robert.
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
know the song.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm all done.
All right, fine.
I'm all done. I'm not going to sing anymore tonight. I'm never even going to say that word again. But if a guest, right?
All right. I think you're going to say it every time you have a webcast.
I'm
No.
thinking
Listen.
somehow it has to come up. Maybe we'll have a thing drop down, a duck smoking a cigar, and we say that it's a secret word. And then get
Is that
some
what the word pejorative brings to mind for you? Is a duck smoking a cigar? Is that?
No, that's what the secret word brings to mind.
Oh,
Groucho
secret
Marx.
word.
See, you're too young for that stuff. You Bet Your Life, that show You Bet Your Life,
Oh, okay.
had Groucho Marx on it. And, I'd like to say something else to all. I mean, there's a lot of people so happy that Fidel was gone. And I don't want to get into politics. But I do want to say that he was on the Ed Sullivan show when he gained power and did not say anything about communism.
Didn't say anything about what?
Communism.
Oh.
Only the people that in Cuba knew he was a communist. And here he is on the nationwide show and claimed to not be a communist. So these are things that just pop out.
Okay. Yes.
And Amanda's thinking, are we really going there? Because I said I didn't want to go there.
No, I'm not.
So we won't go there anymore.
Okay.
We won't go there anymore.
Maybe time for another song.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you think a holiday kind of song?
Oh, I have
Yeah.
one that.
Well, you have a different one you want to play.
Oh, you mean like like an uplifting song?
Yeah, I mean, you forget all the germs and
man.
Cubas and...
Man.
Well, you're uplifting
Okay.
anyway. Your presence is uplifting.
Well, that's.
And I think
That's
I
very
think
kind of you,
I think the people out there,
Um,
thousands and millions of them would agree.
Now we've gone to. Did we go to millions? Yeah.
I think we started
Yeah,
with
it's
millions.
growing. The audience is just growing.
It is.
What is that? Exponentially.
Exponentially.
Yeah, and not pejoratively.
No, not at all.
No.
Pejorative.
All right. So let's see. I've done lots of. I had my list of Christmas songs right here, and I took it off
Oh.
because there it is. Name a song.
Oh goodness. Chestnuts.
No,
Yeah, it's
Robert.
too
Of
low
all
for
songs,
you,
you're gonna name that one. Something simple, Robert.
Oh,
So
sorry.
You're too sophisticated. That's what I'm talking about.
Let it snow.
See, you're
sorry.
sophisticated.
Sorry.
Okay, let me.
Jingle bells.
No. There we go. Now we're talking. Let's see.
Or Swanee River.
Oh, you know what? I heard this great James Taylor.
Ooh.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Ooh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail rings, making the spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Everybody sing along. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, say, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Right. Yes. Very
That
good.
was-
Very
Thank
good.
you. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to.
I appreciate you stopping by.
Sure.
I know you have to go. Did you ever see this show with Steve Martin on Johnny Carson's show?
Oh, I'm sure I did at some point. Tell
They're
me.
talking
Yeah,
at the desks.
Yeah.
In the chair.
yeah.
And Johnny says, "I know you have to go." He goes, "Yeah, I gotta go. I have." This
Oh, so I'm supposed to do that? Okay, do it
No,
again.
no, no, no,
Do it
no,
again.
no,
Do it again.
that was it.
No, I don't think so. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's all right. So
Yeah.
don't apologize. So
Okay.
I'm
I'm pejoratively apologizing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you got me. That's a brain twister.
Yeah, I don't even know what pejorative really means yet. So.
Well,
But
this is
that's
not about pejorative.
Yeah. No, I know it's not. I'm
So
just.
he says, Johnny says, I know you gotta go. He goes, yeah, I really gotta go. Yeah, you got something going. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really have to go. So he gets up and shakes hands and goes over to the corner where the curtain opens. He turns around and waves and walks out. Goes back to Johnny, funny guy. Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, yeah,
Funny,
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Funny guy.
Yeah.
And then the audience starts laughing. And it's Steve Martin coming out of the curtain again. He's going like this.
Oh,
He's even,
Oh,
crying.
that's the best, yeah.
And he walks up. He goes, "What's going?" He goes, I lied.
Don't have to go.
I don't have
Yeah.
to go.
I'm sorry, Johnny.
That was so funny. He says, I thought, because everyone always has to go, they're big stars, and so, I'm sorry. And he actually, I'm pretty
Did he
sure
catch
it's on
Johnny?
YouTube.
Did he catch Johnny Carson off?
I don't-
Like he wasn't
I-
expecting it.
I think he was.
Oh, you think?
But
he
he always went along with it.
Yeah.
He was a great host because he always went along.
Yeah.
Whatever someone wanted to say
Right.
or do, he went along with it. And
Yeah.
as opposed to, I think maybe Dave was a little tough on people sometimes.
Yeah.
I just felt that way. And
No, but Johnny Carson's like he lifted it. He
Yeah.
lifted it and then took it somewhere.
right.
Yeah.
And he helped. He helped the person do what they did. He had the list of questions like,
Yeah.
so to Rodney Dangerfield. So how's your mom?
Yeah. Oh.
And my mother, she's so
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you think it's all real, and
Right.
and it was just conversation that
Right.
he happened to talk about maybe his wife too.
Yeah.
And my wife. And so he was a great guy to watch.
Yeah.
One of the old school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know you have to go.
Yeah, I really do have to go, Robert.
And so we're gonna say thank you to Amanda
Oh, thank you.
Maffei very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Raphael.
Robert. That was fun.
And I always enjoy listening to you play and watching your antics and doing the pony on the common.
Did I do the pony?
Is that the pony?
I just danced, and it's.
Well, it looks a
you
lot
don't
like
know
you're
what the heck is happening.
imitating a pony.
Yeah. Oh, well, now, Robert,
Just
that's not a great image.
Well, no.
I'd like
just,
to say, you look like you're imitating a Broadway dancer.
that's
Like
the
that
same
would be
thing.
good.
That's the same thing.
Oh, same thing as a
In
pony.
my mind, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Broadway dancers would be very pleased with that.
Well, if you're going to be tapping with your
no.
feet like that,
Yeah.
I'm not going to mimic it. I'm not going to do it.
No, it's insane.
gonna
But
do
I
it.
love to move. So that's. the
You
way
do a
it
great
is.
job there too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe you should play every week in
I
the
should.
summertime.
Play every week at the.
Maybe every Saturday night.
Then I'll
you
be
could-
then I'll be known as the crazy lady. The crazy lady who plays out there and then dances along while she's playing. That could be my
Nothing
image.
wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
That's
it. But what I mean is, you could
Yeah.
maybe you could have like an acoustic set
Oh,
on Saturday nights during the summer, and invite other people up to play.
oh, interesting.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, that's an idea.
At some venue,
Yeah.
at least, if not the Common.
Yeah.
Huh.
You've got some ideas. Thank
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Thank
All I
you.
have is ideas. No, just kidding.
you.
So listen, thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
We're going to try to close the evening out with Amanda's Run Boston Strong.
And I'm just going to put something in there to say to go to amandamaffei.com on January 13th to see the new website.
And if you forget to do that, look on HopNews.com, because Amanda, I think, has promised to advise me of when that's live.
I have
Because I'm not going to remember. Oh, Eric, can you remember that? Oh, he's probably not listening because he's got all the technical stuff to do.
I promise, Robert.
All right, I thank you about that. And so we're going to say good night. Next week, Dr. Arthur Sarah McCauley's coming back for an encore performance. I think it's the 23rd. So it'll be 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have any blues whatsoever, I think we'll probably be chasing the blues away on that night, because Dr.
He's the
Sierra
funny guy.
McCauley is, pardon?
Is he the funny guy?
No,
Oh,
he's
he's not the funny guy.
Dr. Sierra McCauley is I would say, licensed therapist,
Ah.
but he's not the
So
funny
you can
guy.
get therapy
Exactly.
from a webcast.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And so,
Yeah.
one thing I'm not sure of though, because
Is this going to go into like a long thing
Well,
about
I know,
therapy
'cause you
now?
have to go. I know you have to go.
And the Affordable Care Act? Is that where we're going with
we're
this?
going to read it. We're going to read it word by word. And so he
Yes.
will. He does talk about having empathy and how that can improve
Nice.
people. And
Yeah.
I have this book. I'm going to read, The Stress Solution.
By
I'm going to
him?
read. That's correct.
Oh, nice.
So he writes books. He's an author.
Great.
He's a licensed therapist,
Uh-huh.
I believe. And he was on the radio show the other day, and he was on our show last couple of weeks, 3 weeks
Nice.
ago. So he's gonna be here for all you folks who might want to hear, One problem I had though, as he was talking about situations, he used the second person pronoun a lot. You know, he would say, now let's say you
Okay.
are my father and you had this or that, the other thing. Or maybe you, I'm thinking, no, I don't like that pronoun anymore.
All right.
I want to hear him say he or she, not you, but he or she. So we'll see how that works out, and
All
hopefully,
right.
because I
Get
keep
those pronouns settled right out.
get them
because-
away from me.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to talk to people about their pronouns. You've got to get them
Yeah.
using the right pronouns,
Yeah.
because if they're using the wrong pronouns, it's just, you know, I mean, I totally understand. what you're
Pronouns are
talking
very I'm not even.
about. Have I used okay pronouns here tonight?
Wonderful.
I mean, you didn't
No.
complain about my pronouns.
No, I
but
didn't because
Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and be one of those persons who's going to check this thing
Yeah.
out, because I
Yeah.
want to make sure that
Yeah.
I got those pronouns down.
you were wonderful. You
Well,
weren't
thank you.
you weren't pejorative in any way.
Yeah, and it might be something that you want to let people know before they come to.
The pejorativeness?
No,
Oh,
the pronouns.
Oh, that they
Make
don't-
sure you use
yeah.
your pronouns
Oh,
correctly.
yeah, if they're a
Yeah.
therapist, yeah.
No, I'm joking.
I don't want them to keep saying you.
Yes, I understand.
But I'm only kidding. He was a great guest. We talked before we knew it was 45 minutes.
Yeah.
How many minutes before we sign that we've done?
Please, can we be done? No.
56 minutes.
56.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. You did a
Thanks,
great job.
everybody.
Amanda,
Thank you,
thank
Eric.
you.
Thank you, Robert.
And thank you to everyone who watched live and to all the people who will be watching the tape, the video of it.
That's it.
Thanks. Good night.
All right, have a good one.
Run, Boston strong, we won't be run asunder. Hate won't win out, love wins the final turn. No turning back, take back our spirited thunder. Spirits forge on as we forge Boston strong. Many forced to sacrifice their good health, life, and ease. Caught in a death trap set by two hearts in